Good afternoon and welcome. This is lunchtime news on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jaivan Ratnayaka. Today is the 31st of December 2020. We bid farewell to an interesting and yet arduous 2020. However, we have all the stories that matter to you this afternoon lined up. So here is a take at your headlines.
Human-elephant conflict worsens in 3 villages in Anuradhapura. Farming communities in Valimada rendered helpless due to the lack of fertilizer. 5 COVID-19 patients escaped from the Gallala quarantine centre. Deadly explosion rocks Yemen's Aden airport.
Including we're hearing reports of
On to those stories in detail. A felicitation ceremony for the newly promoted Army Commander Shavendra Silva was held this morning. The Army Commander was promoted to the rank of 4-star General recently.
The felicitation ceremony was held at the Sri Jayawardhanapura Army Headquarters premises.
The third mile post village in Lolu Gamua, Anuradhapura is a downtrodden village lacking even the most basic infrastructure facilities. Against such a backdrop, the discarding of garbage in the area has given rise to a threat of wild elephant encroachments.
Residents of the area took to the streets, urging authorities to provide a viable solution to their woes. Residents of Lolugaswava, Ilappukuluma and Pudiyunkuluma villages said they were severely affected by the escalation of the wild elephant threats.
Ali අනාථකාරය ඉන්නේ. Ali නිදහස් කරපු ali 3-4 දෙනෙක් මේ කැලේට ගෙනත් දාලා තියෙනවා. ඒක නිසා ali මිනිසුන්ට හොරුයි. අනිවාර්යයෙන් ගෙවල් වල පිළිගානු ගානෙත් එක ගස් වල ලාඹ කරනවා. පාරවල් දිගේ යන්නේ. අනික කෙසෙල් ගස්, පොල් ගස් ඔක්කොම විනාශ කරනවා.
අපි ඉල්ලන්නේ කුණු වල අයින් කරලා දෙන්න කියලා.
We urge that the garbage dump be removed from here. People do not have food to eat here. It takes around 5 years for a coconut tree to grow properly. We only live for 65 to 70 years. We have cultivated these coconut trees so that our children can have the yield.
According to our correspondents, traffic flow along the Mahavilachi Anuradhapura main road was severely disrupted due to the protest.
Staying on the same topic, elephants frequently encroach the Maguldamana area in Dimbulagala, Polonnaruwa and cause damages to properties in the area. The latest of a string of incidents was reported this morning.
Newsfirst, you report.
2 elephants engorged the Maguldamana area in Dimbulagala this morning and caused severe damage to a house in the area. The residents have not been at the house at the time of the attack. Area residents allege that elephants have engorged the village at previous instances too. They added that the electric fence in the area is inactive and requested the authorities to provide an immediate solution to the issue.
Newsfirst, you report.
While a group of people continue to suffer at the hands of the human-elephant conflict, vegetable farmers in Valimada have been severely inconvenienced since they have been unable to obtain fertilizer at a reasonable price.
Farmers in a number of villages in Valimada, Uwaparanakama, including Puhulpala and Kotavela, have been suffering as a result of this issue.
අපිට 1500 ලැබෙනවා කියලා මාධ්‍යයෙන් පෙන්නනවා. දැන් දෙනවා. නමුත් අපි කඩේට ගියාම 1650යි 1800යි ඔන්න ඔය මිලට ගන්න තියෙන්නේ.
Potato farmers and others in Valimada continue to endure hardship owing to this issue. Farmers warn the yield of this season could also reduce as a result.
ඇත්තටම අපිට මේ භෝගවලට නිසි වෙලාවට පොහොර ටික ලැබෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. අනිත් එක මේ පොහොර මිල ගණන් කියන්නේ එක එක මිල ගණන්.
මේ පොහොරත් සර් අපි ගත්තේ 1800 ගානේ. කළු කඩකාරින්ගෙන් මේ ගන්න ගියාම මේ 1800ක් වෙනවා මේ ප්‍රොවිජන් සේවකාරයා අපිට පොහොර ටික ලබා දෙන්න කියලා පිළිමක්.
This matter was discussed during the coordination committee meeting in Valimada held on the 23rd of this month.
On to another headline-making story. 5 COVID-19 patients have escaped from the COVID-19 treatment facility in Gallal, Polonnaruwa.
The escapees had tested positive while at the Nigambu prison and had been directed to the Gallala quarantine centre.
5 COVID patients and prisoners have escaped from the treatment center situated in Gallal in Polonnaruwa area this morning at 3:30. These prisoners had been admitted to the treatment center from Nigambu prison. They were in the remand prison in Nigambu and they were found as COVID positive patients and they had been transferred to the treatment center. They are having pending cases in courts and it has been revealed that the majority of them are drug addicts. A special operation is being conducted in Gallala Polonnaruwa area by the police and security forces in order to apprehend the suspects, and we need the general public support also in order to apprehend the suspect, and the photographs of the escaped persons would be published as early as possible. Apart from that, an investigation has been initiated by SSP Polonnaruwa in respect of the issue. Further investigations are being continued.
Taking a look at the COVID-19 situation in the country now, the total number of COVID-19 deaths reported from the island rose to 199, with 4 more fatalities being reported last night. The deceased are 72-year-old male from Vatiklo, 70-year-old female from Colombo 10, 50-year-old male from Kolonnawa and a 66-year-old male from Colombo 15. Accordingly, the total number of COVID-19 patients in the country currently stands at 42,702. 7,880 COVID-19 patients are currently receiving treatment, while the total number of recoveries stands at 34,623. In more local news, the Sri Lanka Association of Government Medical Laboratory Technologists says that there is a risk of the new COVID-19 variant entering Sri Lanka, with COVID-19 patients being identified among the Ukrainian tourists who arrived in the country recently.
How can we determine that the infected Ukrainian tourists are infected with the new COVID-19 variant? We very clearly told the Ministry of Health that the virus creates new variants all the time. We cannot identify these new variants through PCR testing. For that, we will need genomics analogy machines. There is not a single one at the Ministry of Health. The Asian Development Bank was willing to fund this. There was a tender process in place, but the Ministry of Health halted it. Thereafter, UNICEF was willing to provide provisions through the World Bank for this. Then the ministry said no to that, saying that COVID-19 fear is over in the country. So we asked the authorities to restart that program and obtain a genomics analogy machine at the airport and at the MR. Ministry of Health has to take responsibility for this. They have to get these machines and test tourists for this new variant.
මේ ප්‍රභේද හඳුනා ගැනීමේ පරීක්ෂණයත් එකවර කරලා රටට පැහැදිලි අවබෝධයක් ලබා දෙන්න අපි ගෙන්න ගත්තේ මොන එක්කෙනාද කියලා.
දැන් අපි අහන්න කැමති රජයෙන් මේ යුක්‍රේනයේ ඉඳලා ආපු සංචාරකයන් We would like to question the government as to whether these tourists who came from Ukraine has followed proper health guidelines. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and the former ambassador to Russia, Udanga Veeratunga, welcomed them in a ceremonious manner. Now we have got to know that 6 of them have tested positive. More than 150 airport officials have now been quarantined. We saw on media how these tourists were not wearing their face masks properly. We are suspicious as to whether the second wave entered the country from Ukraine. As of this morning, the total number of COVID-19 cases in the Ukraine is at 10.4 million.
Corona ආසාදිතයන් ප්‍රමාණය දසලක්ෂ 45348ක් අද උදේ වෙනකොට. එතකොට එවැනි රටකින් මොන පදනමක් මතද මේ විදේශිකයන් ලංකාවට ගෙනාවේ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි අහනවා රජයෙන් සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරය නගා සිටවන්න කියලා. මේ රජය මොකද්ද මේ කරන?
Views were also expressed on the COVID-19 vaccine.
විශේෂයෙන්ම කියන්න ඕනේ COVID එන්නත. අද ලෝකේ දියුණු රටවල් විතරක් නෙමෙයි අපේ
Not only the major countries across the world, but countries in South Asia have also taken steps to order various vaccines to their respective countries. What have we done as a country about this vaccine? All of us know that the WHO is willing to provide this vaccine to 2 million people of Sri Lanka for free. The World Health Organization has requested us to register in this endeavor before the 7th of December. The government is very backward about obtaining the vaccine. On one side, they have not taken the steps to accept the vaccine that is being given to us for free. On the other side, contrary to other countries, we have not prepared to get this vaccine to our country.
ගැනීම සඳහා අවශ්‍ය ක්‍රියාමාර්ග මේ වෙනකන් අරගෙන නැහැ. ලංකාවේ අයවැය බැලන්ස් එක තියාගන්න ඩොලර් එවන මිනිස්සු.
Those who ask for dollars to manage the Sri Lankan trade deficit have not brought down 185 people from Ukraine. Everyone knows who organized this. The former ambassador of Ukraine. According to what we see, these people have been brought down and provided accommodation at hotels that they have chosen, and then they will be sent back in 2 weeks. If the main objective is to promote the tourism industry, what is the point of bringing down their friends and accommodate them at hotels owned by their friends? Can they promote tourism in this manner?
සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරය ප්‍රවර්ධනය කරන්න නම් තමන්ගේ මිතුරන්ට විතරක් සලකලා මිතුරන් විසින් පවත්වාගෙන යන හෝටල් හෝ සංචාරක නිකේතන වලට හෝ සංචාරක ගෙනල්ලා දාලා සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරය පණ ගන්නවන්න ප්‍රවර්ධනය කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? එහෙම බෑ. සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරය කියන්නේ මෙරට අස්සක් මුල්ලක් නැර පැතිරෙච්ච එකක්.
And that's a wrap of lunchtime news on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Zaman Ratnaik. In case you missed any of these stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. Also, follow us on our social media on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Take care, stay safe and have yourself a nice day.